We got Curtis Cohen today calling in from Arkansas. Did I remember that right?
Yes, sir.
All right. Where are you at today? At home?
Yeah.
Love it.
Sitting here at home today.
So you actually have a full-time job that you're holding on to so you can buy some rentals, right? But you've also made $6,500 wholesaling in your free time.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep. Correct.
When I looked it up, I think you had spent like about $1,000, less than $1,000 actually, on DealMachine to get those deals. So that's like a 600% return.
Right. That's right.
How do you feel about that?
Man, that's crazy.
Yeah, man.
It's really crazy. It's really crazy, especially because like I do got a full-time job, and not only do I got a full-time job, man, I'm in school too, so I'm a full-time student too. And whoever's a biochem major knows the struggle.
Yeah. I didn't know you were a student too. You are doing so many things. What are you studying, by the way?
Biochem.
Okay, that's not an easy major, I would guess.
Nah. Right now, I got a research actually going on about the hemoglobin in our body. So yeah, it's kind of crazy, but we do it.
That's awesome, man. Congratulations. And I'm pumped to hear some more details. This is over 4 deals that you did.
Yeah.
And I remember from the part of the story you've told me so far, though, you actually have been using DealMachine for 7 months, right? And then all these deals came at once recently.
Right.
So I think that is such a cool story because you persevered through 6 months, right?
Right.
Where a lot of people give up because they don't see an immediate result. And so I want to dive into that, and I want you to talk about like what kind of mindset did you have that kept you moving forward?
Well, first of all, man, it's all about perseverance. Like, it's all about perseverance. And one thing I can truly say is that it's real when they say the fortune is most definitely in the follow-up. The fortune is really in the follow-up. It came to a point where I was contacting sellers months at a time, 2 weeks at a time, 3-4 weeks at a time. And then, boom, my first deal came about. So
6 months later, right?
Yeah. I've been going for 6 months strong. And then I finally got that one phone call. I did that one follow-up, and I just kept on following up with them. And then there you go. And actually, honestly, those 4 deals that I got were all follow-ups.
Okay. They didn't hit you back on the first postcard, right? You're sending direct mail, I assume.
Yes.
Okay, cool. So that's really powerful and mature. And I think most people who are starting out don't have that unless they're working with like a coach or a mentor. Do you have anybody that's really helped you think about it that way?
Right. Yeah. You know what I have, and I've come across a lot of guys that's pretty much influenced my very small wholesale business. Actually, if I can do a small shout out to Byron the Investor, he's a great guy. T-Rob, he's a great guy. Brian, he's a great guy too. People that give out nothing but great content. So they helped me out a lot, especially during my 6-month time span, because it can be very discouraging. It really can. But once you get that first deal, it's like electrifying. It's crazy. It's crazy.
That's awesome.
It's crazy.
And for those of you watching, I want to put a link to those guys' social media accounts so they can follow them too here in the description. So look out for that in the YouTube description. That's great. Yeah, I know we've had House Buying Brian on and T-Rob on our YouTube channel before. And that's really great. Plus, you said you're going to We Live 19, which is Max Maxwell's event coming up here in the end of March, right?
Right. Shout out to the 30-day challenge.
That's awesome you did that. And I'm so excited to see you in Dallas in person. We're going to be there too.
Yeah, that's the plan, man. It's going to be crazy.
So dive into that first deal that you did. What was the seller's story? What did they say when they picked up the phone? Okay.
So, all right. So, okay, this guy here, he was an older gentleman. He used to fight in the Vietnam War, but he had a lot of rental properties, and he actually had one that I was actually driving by, and I seen the property and it was vacant. So I actually knocked on the neighbor's door, asked the neighbor about the property, then they really kind of didn't know too much about it because they just moved into their house, so it was kind of a bummer. So I kind of went on to my DealMachine app, took a picture of the house, sent a couple mailers to his actual address. He actually gave me a phone call, and he was telling me that he didn't want to really kind of sell the property, but if he got the right price for it, he would consider selling it. So we actually went over there. We took a look at the property. I talked them down a couple notches on the property pricing. We got it under contract, and I got a quick wholesale fee of $2,000. And actually, I don't think you can see it.
You still got the check right there.
Yeah, you got to keep your first one, brother.
Frame it.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
You gotta keep your first one. I gotta frame it, but I actually I probably shouldn't say this, but I do. But I actually keep it in like my bathroom, right on the mirror, so I see it. It's like,
dude, that's great. It's kind of like I've seen people do that with affirmations or even a to-do list. That's awesome, man.
Right. So I mean, it's cool, man. It's really cool. I really plan on growing this business. I really plan on quitting my 9-to-5 one day. But I kind of see the leverage in having the salary when it comes down to the rehab rental thing that I'm slowly.
You got to get loans and financing. 100%. That's real.
Right. So, but eventually I will quit that and just kind of leap on my own. But I really kind of like the rental game. I love the wholesale field. I love the wholesale chase. I kind of like the give and gab. I like to talk to people, help people, talk to cash buyers, them too, and make a couple coins on the way.
Heck yeah. Well, tell me about what happened when that seller called you. What did you say to that person on the phone?
Man, you know what?
I think you said you were speechless, kind of like you are now.
And now that I sit here, I was like, man, I really couldn't tell you right now what I said because I was so speechless that he actually kind of picked up and I talked to him. And before I knew it, man, to be honest with you, before I knew it, I was just at the house and I was like, hey, meet me over here. He met me over there. He's an older gentleman. He hopped out the van. We took a look at it. I didn't waste any time in getting it under contract. We did it all right there and we got it all done within a week's time span. Got it closed out in 14 days. It was kind of like boom, boom, boom before I blinked. So I just kind of went back over it in my mind and just reprocessed, honestly.
Yep. Yeah, so I mean, there's a lot of like scripts out there, which I think help a lot of people that haven't done that phone call before. And if I had to guess, you pretty much just talked to him like he was your friend instead of precise script, which I think is always nice when you can make it personal like that and go off script. So that's really cool.
Man, you know what? I'm really not a scripted guy, honestly, because you know what? I've never met a stranger in my life. So I go off situations and I kind of put myself in their situation and I kind of help them from that aspect. Because really, honestly and truly, it's really not all about the money. I had one deal that I did right after this. This lady was actually in a real situation when she had to sell her house. She wanted out of our city because she has her own personal issues. And because I was able to take her problem and put her burdens on my shoulder, I helped her out, found the buyer for it, and now she's out, she's happy. And I talked to her actually a week ago, and she's living her life, and she's great. See, that's the relationship that I always keep. So it's really not about the deal itself. It's about helping people and about building that rapport that's genuine. So, I mean, right. I get that.
Tell me about how did you find this buyer? Right, that's the tough part. So many people doing their first deal, they'll get the deal under contract, and then they can't find a buyer. How did you find yours?
You know what? I've been waiting on somebody to ask me this question. I hope a lot of people are seeing this, but I actually found that buyer on Craigslist.
Mm-hmm.
I actually posted I would almost call a dummy pic of an old picture of a house saying that I pretty much probably had on the contract, and the buyer actually seen the flyer. He contacted me, and just so happened I actually had one under contract, but it wasn't that one. But yeah, I used Craigslist as a leverage, and I got a cash buyer that way, and that cash buyer is actually a friend of mine now, and we talk pretty often.
That's awesome. He probably wants to buy more properties from you, right?
Oh yeah. Awesome. Yeah. Well, we're actually working on a deal right now. It's a 5-house Section 8 package. So yeah.
Okay. Well, that's great. So you actually told me, and I hope this is okay to share, you had said that on your first deal, you made the mistake and had a learning moment of introducing the buyer to the seller before you had the house under contract, right?
Right.
So tell me about that. It ended up working out okay, I remember you saying, but just tell me about that.
Well, don't put your buyer and your seller in the same room, especially if you don't got it under contract. That's not the smartest thing.
Right.
That's not the smartest thing to do.
Mm-hmm. Well, actually, you can't advertise. You're not supposed to unless you have an interest in the property, meaning you own it or you have it under contract.
Right.
So also just, I love the hustle that you got it done. And I'm so glad the buyer was a trustworthy dude,
Right.
or gal, not sure which, but
Right.
Glad that worked out for you.
Man, I really can say I was really feeling forward. I almost feeling in a big way. But
yeah, you've got to take action. And I think that's the biggest thing, and you learn along the way.
That's the only way you'll go about this business. You can't sit down on the couch and do it. You got to get up.
Yep.
You got to get up.
Cool. Man, I just want to celebrate with you. And I'll send you a link so you can get a DealMachine hat or some swag if you're interested on us. No problem. And just wanted to say thanks again for sharing your story.
Yeah.
Man, one thing we didn't dive into, though, is like, what was your strategy for finding these homes and adding them to DealMachine?
Man, you know what? All of these was actually absentee owners.
Okay.
So I do a lot of driving for dollars. Mm-hmm. So I actually got a tip from Max Maxwell that you can actually upload a list, any absentee owner list into your DealMachine app. So whenever you're driving for dollars, it kind of blinks at you. And if you take a picture of the house and that's one of yours, it comes up. And that was one of that. That's really kind of how I did it. Because in my market here in Little Rock, Arkansas, it's a good driving for dollar market.
Yeah, absolutely. So were you actually grabbing houses that you saw randomly, or did you have specific zip codes that you were driving in?
You know what? This was pretty much randomly. It's pretty much random. Every time I leave the house, I'm driving for dollars. If I'm going to the store, I'm driving for dollars. So
totally makes sense.
Yeah.
And last question: how many properties did you have in the app by the time? And I guess how many do you have now? Because you just did these deals. Mm-hmm. You know.
So at that time, I would probably say about 20 to 30. And then from the DealMachine app, I did 4, which was my 4 deals.
Okay. Dang it. You only had 30 in your app?
Yeah.
Bro, you got to get those numbers up. Glad you got those deals, but you'll get a lot more. I mean, This is what we see usually is people have at least 200 in there. A lot of times people add 30 properties and they'll like hear this and they'll say, oh, I added 30 properties and I didn't get any calls back. So obviously this isn't working. But you've got to do it consistently and get enough numbers in there. So for anybody listening, really glad you had success. But for anybody listening, you've got to get to 200 properties at least. That's what we see on average. 200, send mail at least 3 times. I mean, Curtis, your example is great because you had follow-ups, right? You had several follow-ups there to those 30, which was key to getting those deals. So at least 200 properties and then follow up, guys. Make sure you've got that repeat mail on or a schedule that you're going to repeat cold call them.
Right. That's true.
Thanks. I'll get off the teaching soapbox, but that's something I wanted people to hear if they're just starting out.
Yes,
practical advice they can take.
No, that's great advice. And trust me, I got way more deals in my DealMachine app now. So it's picked up pretty much. So.
That's good, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anything else that you'd want to share with somebody who's, listening to this in terms of, how they can use DealMachine to get some more deals in their business?
Man, you know what? For anybody that's just kind of listening to this, man, if I can do it, you can do it too. And you're truly one deal away. So anytime that you have the opportunity to act accordingly, use your time wisely. And first of all, use your DealMachine app, especially if you're out driving for dollars. Take a picture of your property. It's real simple. Take a picture of the property. Let them do the work. You put your stuff in, send your mail list, as many as you need, and you'll get your deal.
Thanks so much for sharing your story, Curtis. And I can't wait to get in touch with you again once you get your first rental house or quit your job.
Right.
at your next stage of doing this real estate thing.
Right. Now, I really appreciate you for having me on. Hello,
You're welcome.
Dave.
Yeah.
Say what's up to the camera.
Hey, what's up, camera? Who am I talking to?
Shout out to DealMachine.
Appreciate that, man.
Thank you, brother. Thank you a lot.
I'll talk to you soon.
All right. Take care.
See you,
Bye-bye.
Curtis.
Bye.